That is awesome. I love that video. I just to get myself back on screen. Hey, happy Thursday, everyone. Very excited to be sharing this with you today. A quick lightning round, 30 minutes talking about. And today joining me, I have my colleague, Taylor Kavanaugh. Wow, a little blank there. How are you, Taylor?
Hey, I'm doing great, Chris. Really excited for today's conversation.
Yeah, and we've had a cast of many pulling this all together to make us look good today here, Taylor. So today, I love that video. It really kind of frames up the situation that we see with a lot of our clients that are just, wrestling with this technology problem. Today, we're going to start from that, and we're going to introduce this concept of data-powered construction, and we'll understand more how we think about this. Then the real heart of what we want to do today is start to bring some clarity in terms of what does it mean to turn data into dollars, right? How do you think that through? How do you go about getting that type of clarity so that you can share it internally with your team, alignment, be galvanized in terms of driving action. And then how do you create that, or how do you take that clarity and build off it in terms of building momentum in 2025? So going to be a tight session. Taylor's going to keep me between the rails here, between the lines.
I'm going to try.
Try.
I'm just here to make sure that we keep on track.
Excellent.
So let's get into it.
So with all the available technology in the industry today, and the acceleration of investment into new technologies, it should be easier, right? It should be easier than ever to run a construction operation, but it just isn't. And it seems like, you're damned if you do, doomed if you don't. That technology just continues to be an opportunity, but every step forward feels like two steps back. Mm-hmm. And we think about it in terms of this dilemma, right? That the industry has a construction technology dilemma, contact dilemma, where it's not working. What's the answer? And the answer can't be more technology. Make sense, Taylor?
Yeah, of course.
So you need to think through this differently. But before we do that, what does this actually look like in real terms? Well, we see technology land, and it creates silos, it creates trapped data between systems. And then we have people manually entering data to move system data from one system to the next system, trying to, play catch up to keep things aligned. And that playing catch up means that you're constantly chasing from a process standpoint. You're trying to get the information lined up so you can do billing. You're trying to get the information where your team can start pricing changes, right? You're trying to get payroll done. We've seen that a ton. And despite all this work, we're not any better off in terms of visibility, right? The big payoff that we were expecting, we're just not seeing it, right? We may or may not have the staff in place. Oftentimes we see the team of one, right? Sometimes they may not have all the skills and knowledge about databases and data movement and data management and data. And so because of that, we're in this loop of underwhelming technology results. Around we go. And you're left frustrated and stuck and just not sure where to turn. Mm-hmm. Does this sound like the conversations you have with?
This sounds like the conversations I have all day, every day, all week long.
That's right. Awesome. And so the idea here is, at high levels, to stop working for technology and to get the technology, more importantly, the data working for you. And this is, it's actually in the term information technology, IT. And the challenge is we focus on the T. We focus on what is the silver bullet? What is the magical piece that's going to make this all work? And in fact, if we shift our focus and really emphasize the information, it's the information that's actually the means to the end. And the end is, in fact, measured in dollars, right? The objective here is to have an impact on the business that lands in your income in your financial statements. Now, today, And really, the starting point for most organizations is the income statement, right? Margin expansion. In the future, we'll probably look at scenarios where we can think about accelerating cash flows, right? Or actually thinking about data becoming a meaningful asset on the balance sheet. But the natural starting point, I believe, is to look at the income statement and how might we expand margins on projects, right?
Yeah.
Make sense? This will be fun today.
Should be fun.
All right. Okay. And this is essentially the concept that we've sort of branded, right? This idea of data-powered construction. It's the idea of taking the data that you have, right? It's not new technology, it's the data you have, and harnessing the power, the potential of that data to create business outcomes. And we'll see exactly how we go about thinking through that capture of energy to create those outcomes, but data-powered construction. Diving into it, what does it mean to have data-powered construction? What means turning data into outcomes that are measured in dollars? We have a workbook. This is the do your math section of the conversation today. So we have a workbook, and it's right behind that QR code. So if I move us down here, you can probably see the QR code, and I think we're going to drop it in the chat. Now, if you don't have the workbook, this is pretty simple. So we'll just kind of step through it, and you'll have the opportunity to, follow along on your end. So the first piece, and I like to think about it as the, it's the warm-up exercise. It's just to think about your business, right? Forget about technology, forget about data, think about the business, and what area of the business do you want to focus on? And we have one of our lines, one of our sayings here is that business strategy drives data strategy. So what do you want to accomplish in the business? Where are you heading? Where are you driving your ship? And then you can think about the data powering that endeavor. So question, it may be an area, could be a function, could be an operation, could be a process. But what area or areas of the business do you think about improving? Fundamentally, this is a business improvement effort. Mm-hmm. Now, we've done some great work with the Concordia School of Construction Management, Engineering, Computer Science. And they did some research, some surveys, and they asked this exact question. So this is just to get you thinking, what are the real important construction processes? And not surprisingly, the things that bubbled up to the top, if you see the 4.3, the 4.14 was progress monitoring, resource utilization management. It's a lot of words to say labor, and change management. You also see up there some site logistics, some construction equipment, and somewhere here as well is material requisition, right? So you start to see that, Taylor, once you kind of pull away the noise, what you see is that construction is really an information business. Yeah. Right. It's already a really intricate exchange of information from field to office, between stakeholders, subs to trades to subs. It's also it's bound by the contracts, right?
So it's really always been an information business.
Always been an information business.
It even blows my mind the things that get done based on all these paper-based processes.
Yeah.
So much opportunity for really good data collection.
And it's magical. It's
when it works, amazing. It's magical, right? When it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking out on Canadian Parliament buildings here, and it's just amazing the stuff that gets built.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So hopefully we've given you a little bit of time to identify some of those areas. And as I said, that's the warm-up exercise. Now, this is the fun part. Is there anybody out there that doesn't have any problems?
There can't be.
Right? Everybody has problems. I got problems. You got problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But if we can start to reframe those problems as opportunities, we've got something that we can really build on. Because if you make a meaningful problem go away, by definition, you're better.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you're thinking about finding those problems, like lean into the noise, lean into the pain.
Yeah.
Right. Because when things are working, you often never hear about them. But you always hear about the process that's not working as expected, or the technology that's not doing the thing that it was brought in to do.
Yeah. So if you're working in the workbook, I want you just to brainstorm, or if you've got a piece of paper or digital, however you want to capture, where in your business right now do you have manual data entry? Right, that's an easy one. Where are you scrambling to get things done, like invoicing, like work in progress reporting, like change order pricing, right?
Forecasting.
Yeah. Any of these, where the time is of the essence. Where are you making decisions blindly? That's a good one. And we'll see as we get into the calculations, that's where this thing can, the power of data, turning data into information can really be powerful. And then where do you know that you want to do something but don't have the resources, or you just can't get to it? There might be other categories, other things that are coming to mind. Just kind of open up the thinking here, divergent thinking, and where are your problems? Because once you get your problems down, what you actually have is a inventory of opportunities. And this is some work we're doing with a client right now to really start to lean into this innovation management. And that's another talk show. But what we have here is a list of the opportunities to move the business forward. Right? And you can see that there's some that are already in flight. This is a little bit small, but there's some pieces that are in flight. There's one that's queued up to be next. But effectively, what we're setting up for here, which we'll touch on in the end, is the ability to have continuous improvement, right? Really building momentum.
Right. We're really creating a roadmap for business improvement here.
Exactly. So hopefully you're getting your problems down and creating the starting point for this list. Now pick one. Just pick one. And you'll see that, pick one that seems approachable, that you have a good understanding of, that matters. Right? It doesn't have to be the biggest problem, but pick one. And with that one, we're going to step through something we call the impact horizon. Now, the idea of the impact horizon, I mean, if you go to a client and say ROI, Taylor, what happens?
It's a dirty word.
Dirty word.
Don't bring it up.
And so the way we think about ROI is in the concept of an impact horizon. Now, the horizon is out there, right? And you have a sense of what's out there, but you don't know exactly. And there's an array of outcomes. And so we think about it more in terms of painting the array of possible so that you can galvanize a conversation. This isn't Aedo's number. This is your number to drive alignment, drive clarity, have conversations on what matters to the business. So let's take that problem that you circled, and we're going to use this construct that is really, there's two ways to extract value from data. You can make it cheaper, right? You can take the effort out of moving it from spot to spot, or whatever the process may be. You can make it cheaper, or you can make it better for the business in terms of insight. Right? So those are the two levers. That's when it comes down to it. Those are the two things you can do. And we're gonna put our faces where they need to be, hopefully, and actually walk through that. So I'd invite you to follow along. This will be some simple math, but I'm a simple guy. And start with the problem that you circled. So what is the problem? Taylor, the one we've seen 60 times in the last 2 years is the manual data processing, manual payroll processing.
Right.
Taking the time cards from the field, transforming them according to business logic and the rules and rates and all sorts of stuff, and then getting that streamlined into the payroll and finance systems.
Yeah, and this problem is always an interesting one, because you got the time card to simplify this process, but here, you might have just moved it down in the timeline, right? Now you got a different problem.
Yeah.
So how do we look at that?
So the way we look at it is across those two dimensions. How can we reduce costs? And then we'll look at the insights. So how many people are on that task every week? How much time do they spend? And an hourly rate. I've got something here called business impact, and we'll talk about that. But so this is a pretty, two people spending a good part of Monday. It's about 10 hours, hourly rate. We kind of low here with the planning numbers, tend to use a little bit higher. And then the business impact is what does it cost you when there's a mistake? And mistakes may not happen every week, but it's good to kind of think through and have that conversation, a bit of a placeholder. So what you end up with here is a weekly impact of $350. Okay, you kind of, somebody said we waste more than that weekly on sealant drying out, right? Yeah. But $350 over the week times 50. Why not 52? Because I can do 50 in my head. Is $17,000, $17,500, right? Okay, so that's interesting. What about the other side, the improving insight? So we're talking about labor data here, and this is where you have to get a little bit creative. You have to say, okay, what is the impact? Where could having better information improve the business? And the way to think about that is, where do you not have information? Where's the data trapped? So it can be trapped because it's just not available. People that need it can't get it. It's not getting there when it needs to, or it'd be nice to have it sooner, or it's in this big honking spreadsheet and I can get the answer, but it's going to take some time and we don't have time, or you just don't trust it, right? Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes not all of it's put together, right? So these are flavors of trapped data. And thinking about our payroll extract, our payroll transformation scenario, one of the things we did for about 30 of our clients this year was we took that labor data and we created a weekly snapshot. Right? As soon as that data was submitted, we created this overview that gave them really interesting contextual information about really what's going on in their operation. Here we have a client that's running 57 projects. It's down a little bit. They see how many employees, field staff is tracking down. There's our biggest projects by labor hours, by crew size. We see what's going up, what's coming down, right? Just a real kind of snapshot at the beginning of the week. Yeah. And you say, what is that worth? Right? What is that worth? Is worth something. And so here we said, maybe it's worth $50 a week per project. It seems pretty low, but and let's say that 20 projects concurrently per month. And I'd again invite you to follow along, put your own numbers in here. And so that's $1,000 per week. And then I can do the math here. 50, it's 50,000. Any reactions to this, Taylor?
Well, I feel like when we look at this concept, the second side of the equation, the improved insight, sometimes it's hard for people to understand. And the real point to get across there is, with a really small number, like $50 per week per project across all your projects, has a huge outcome. So it's kind of the art and the science that comes with taking a look at, what this is actually costing your business. But go conservative, pick a number, project it out by your projects, project it out by the year, and you'll see a huge number on the table.
Yeah.
Right? That tiny bit better ability to make a better decision on a project has a huge outcome at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I love this because, as we step into the impact horizon here, in this case, $67,000, I can guarantee you that number's wrong. Guarantee you it's wrong. It's a wrong number, but it galvanizes a conversation, right? Is it too low? Is it too high?
Right.
Where are the opportunities? And we can move from a conversation inside a company of should we, shouldn't we, it never works, to a conversation on dollars and start looking at, really moving from a cost to an investment scenario.
Prove to yourself that this is a problem worth solving.
Exactly.
Right? Like, these are our numbers, these are your numbers.
Yeah. So, if you can find a spare $60,000 laying around. And if you could do it 2 months, less than $20,000, what are you going to do, Taylor?
I'm taking the bet.
You're taking the bet?
Yeah.
Just one time?
No, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah. And that's we see when we take the time to do this calculation, we see this math all the time.
Yeah.
Just incredible payoffs, right? And can you see in the operation, can you see an extra $50,000 to $60,000? Probably not initially, but as you start stacking these, a couple things happen. You start to see that margin expansion, but you also start to develop a culture. It feels good to win, right? You're building a culture that moves you from the way it is to the way it could be, right? Compounding gains, momentum. And you and I talk about this all the time. So obviously I get pretty excited about this, but I think this is, so what have we talked about? Well, we've talked about the problem. Everybody is pretty familiar with the problem. They deal with it. They, we have people that kind of call us from a state of scarcity, from a negative place, right? Like help us make this work.
Yeah.
But then you can start to move from broken to working to actually leaning into the future. And that's that new approach here. So we have a problem, but there's an approach that we can start to drive towards, which is that data powered construction. How do we harness the power of what's already in place, right? Emphasizing the I over the T. And so the idea that we've been playing around with here is what's the new function, right? So it's not the technology group. We need to focus on information, and we need to focus on the job the information needs to do, which is drive outcomes and operations.
Right.
So pretty new here, but we're proposing that there's actually a new strategic function in 2025, and they're calling it construction information operations, right? PSYOPs. It's kind of neat. Construction information operations is a new strategic function that ensures technology and data are used to power project outcomes and drive business results within construction, right? It's not technology outcomes. It's not integration.
No.
It's business outcomes. It's construction.
Right. Could be tied to a project. Could be tied to a business unit.
Yeah.
It feels real.
Yeah.
Feels like something the industry needs.
So this is why we were rushing this out at the tail end of the year. We've been doing a lot of writing about data powered construction, about the technology dilemma, the feeling of stuck, the urgency, the role of the trailblazer, and seeing a new future. And we think this is where it comes together. And so we are in the process of finalizing and coming up with something we're calling Basecamp, which is your on-demand PsyOps team. And you can kind of think of it like outsourced IT, if we believed in IT, which we don't. So it's like your outsourced IT team, but it's really focused on creating these outcomes like we calculated today, right? That is oriented to the operation, to the business outcomes, to the business strategy. So it's implementing PsyOps and creating those measurable business outcomes. How? By solving those problems, right? Manual data entry, streamlining processes, data into insights, freeing up time, right? Getting project teams, field teams focused on the highest and best, right? And then doing it in a way that allows organizations to scale up, scale down, turn it off. It makes sense. We don't think it'll make sense. So that's what we're coming up with. For everybody here and anybody checking in, we are launching this in January. We are planning to be at the MEP Innovation Conference, and so are looking at a launch around that time. And our launch is going to come with a guarantee that, like today, we will find 50K of profit in 2 months, guaranteed. Now, it's the first time you're seeing this, Taylor, so it's you're like, but I'm saying we will guarantee that 50K of profit, and this is for our clients. The first 5 that come in, we'll do the setup, our base camp setup move, our planning move. It looks like Advantage. We'll do it for free and create that inventory of opportunities that really sets you up for 2025. So that's the offer here today. The thank you for showing up, and we're really excited about this concept. Really hope that this has been a valuable session. And yeah, here's to everybody catching their breath over the holidays, and let's come out of the gates hard in 2025. What do you think, Taylor?
It's exciting. I can't wait to be a part of it, to be honest. And I know we're already working with lots of clients that are excited about this shift. We're just getting the message out there.
Yeah.
Right. This concept of PsyOps, the concept of moving away from traditional IT to actually powering business outcomes.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2025 is going to be a big year.
If you have any questions, comments, if you'd like to grab one of those slots, hurry. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think, and let us know how this session landed. We plan to do more of these delivering value workshops in the future. So let us know what you'd like us to cover. I want to thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.